the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. There's lights that burn so brightly, in the northeast sky they shine, from the place that Geordies worship, where legends wear number 9. You can travel right round the world, even meet the Pope in Rome, but nothing beats the feeling of when you come back here to home. No matter how life changes, we'll never be far apart. The northeast always home, and it's always in your heart. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV. And yes, it's our popular show's back again. It's buy, keep or sell again. And yes, if anybody's just joined this show for the first time, we look at players who we could maybe bring in the summer, players that we may want to keep at the club, and players we may want to sell. So, you know, and after his goal exploits yesterday for the under-21s, maybe Ryan Fraser's price tag's just gone up an extra million or two. But, you know, I'm joined tonight by Roly, the voice of reason. And how are you, Roly?
I'm good, thanks, Tony. Looking forward to the show. It's always a good show, this one. I really enjoy it. So.
Oh, brilliant. I'm glad you do. But guys, if you like what you see, then please smash those likes. It really does help the channel up the search results. So if you smash that thumbs up, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then please hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. Bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. If you want to make a donation to the channel, there is a link in the chat. Just click the link and follow the instructions. I'm on 488 subscribers, so just 12 away now from 500. So thank you to everybody who's subscribed so far. Bia says, evening all. Evening to you, Bia. Hope you're well. Ian, evening Tony and Roly. Good evening to you, Ian. I hope you're very well, mate. And Alan says, evening Tony and Roly and the chat. Evening to you, Alan. And nice to see you, mate. Yeah, so obviously the rumours are that we're going to be very aggressive in the transfer market in the summer. And I think, and I see if we get Champions League, which we should do, but you know, something can happen. But if we get Champions League, then yes, we will have to be really aggressive, and we need to bring that little bit better caliber player into the club as also. So yeah, so we'll look at some players that, you know, we think would suit our club well, especially for the Champions League. But then again, we can look at other players who could come in and do a great job and progress to the Champions League. Paul says, evening, I'm still at work until 8, unfortunately. Oh, no, that's not great, Paul. If you miss any of the show, mate, but you know, you can always catch it up. So thank you very much, mate. Gareth says, good evening, both. Been on holiday down the New Forest over the last week, so been playing catch up on the shows. Hope you had a great time, mate, and I hope the weather was fabulous down there for you as well, because it's a nice place, the New Forest.
Yeah.
Sefton, sexy Mags in the house, and good evening all. Good evening, Sefton.
Evening, sexy Mag.
Roly, don't big him up even more than he is, please. Come on. Why do you think I just call him Sefton? I don't want him swelling too much.
I mean, it's because the way you called him Sefton, I thought, I'm going to have to call him Sexy Mag.
Paul says, I'm watching it while working. Oh, nice one, mate. Thank you very much indeed. And Ian's saying out to Sefton, and Sefton saying back hi to Ian as well. I mean, yeah, the club's going to be aggressive, Roly, in the transfer market in the summer. And, you know, I mean, Luke Edwards, said there'll be player sales and we'll have £20 million on top of that to spend. Well, I'm sorry. Luke Edwards, for me, is... I still don't get this guy, because 1 minute he's putting out a list of players which he must have got off his FIFA 23 team. Then he comes out and says a lot of crap like, oh, well, hang on a minute, they've only got £20 million to spend in the summer. Is this guy for real? Does he still think the fat man owns the club still? Because under the fat man, yes, it may be in a £20 million window, but under these owners, it's 10 times that at least. So I just don't get this man. I mean, what do you make of what he said about £20 million to spend a summer? It's laughable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that was the word I was going to use, because since these owners have been in, they've had 2 windows, and they spent, I think the first window spent nearly 100 million, and they spent nearly double that in the second. So why are they? Sorry, 3 windows.
They've had 3. January, summer,
yeah.
January.
Yeah, of course they've had the January one. So, I mean, even in the January one, still spent close to 50 million. So why is it going to be 2? And we only bought 2 players, so why would it go down to 20 in the summer, which is the time when you do your big spending? Doesn't make
exactly.
It
doesn't.
He must think he's forgotten that we've been taken over.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we've read it wrong. Unless he's saying that the minimum we're going to spend on a player is 20 million. It makes sense then. That's the minimum we're going to pay for a player.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's. I just don't get him, to be honest. I mean, he's just one of them people that you just, just put up with. He's a bit like Marmite, So that's one word for him anyway, for sure.
Yeah,
but,
I don't pay much attention to when people say what our budget is, because they don't know. They didn't know under Ashby. They don't know. They're guessing. Especially with these owners, they say they're going to be aggressive in the summer. How aggressive will depend on which competition we're in Europe. I have no reason to believe that we won't make the Champions League. It's in our hands. We're going to have to perform like we did against Aston Villa in a few games to spoil the chances of getting Champions League. I'm still hopeful of 3rd place.
Yeah.
So if we beat Spurs on Sunday and then Spurs draw with Man United and we win against Everton, that puts us back into 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. But Man U go to Spurs, don't they? And that's a tough game, isn't it? Well, I say it's a tough game, but it's probably more a tough game for Tottenham Hotspur than it is Man United, to be fair.
You don't know which Spurs is going to turn up.
That's the thing, you don't.
Yeah, that's the difficulty for Sunday's game. We don't know which Spurs is going to turn up. It's going to be a good. Maybe they'll play better after losing to Bournemouth. Maybe they'll have a reaction from that. I'm sure we'll get a reaction from the Villa game, because that just wasn't, for the current ownership, that was unacceptable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We set our standards so high that was unacceptable. But it happens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the lads will put it right on Sunday.
Absolutely. Sure they will do. Alan says, I would like to see Savage from Lazio. That's another good shout, Alan. Yeah, we'll come to him in a moment. We'll come to midfielders. I'm going to start your question for now, because we'll come back to that one. Mikey Mag says, hi, Tony and Roly. One player that always stands out is Casemiro. Just seen his age and value, 50 million. Man U not going to get much back. 2 and 1 pay that for a 31-year-old. No, absolutely not.
No, we won't. But
yes, he's a cracking player.
Yeah, we've got a hell of a player, but the whole point of the project is to move forward and getting players that can grow with the club. So we're getting, if you notice, most of the really big spends we've had have been players that are early to mid 20s. Like Bruno was he 24 when we signed him?
Mm,
Isak and Botman were both 22.
yeah,
Gordon just turned 22. There's a pattern. Obviously, they'll pay for players that are older than that, but they're getting young, talented players that can be the future of the club, that can
yeah,
contribute now.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
they've got a plan. They're very process driven. They know what they want to do. They know how they want to do it. I think it's just surprised them that we're in the situation we are. I
Mm,
mean, if we don't make Champions League, it will be disappointing because we've been in the Champions League spot for so long. But it's
yeah.
still a vast improvement from last season.
Oh,
It,
definitely.
it'd be disappointing, but I think what would be worse is not seeing any progress. It's disappointing to miss out if we do, but you can see the
Yeah.
progress that's been made. Um, I personally don't think we'll miss out. As you said on the show last night, of the remaining games we've got, there's Arsenal is one where we probably won't get all the points. Um, Brighton's another one where we might not get all the points. But the other games are we go into them as favourites.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you look at Leeds last night. They look a shambles, and I'm not being funny. If Liverpool can go down there and score 6, I tell you what, that game can't come quick enough for us because I think we'll be going down there to fill with boots, especially if we play
yeah,
the way we've been. If we play with our game, bring our A game to Leeds, we'll absolutely wipe the floor with them. And I'm not
well,
just saying that
someone
just because you know,
someone tweeted to Sky Sports News this morning that Leeds are the club that keeps on giving goals.
yeah, they are
The,
absolutely.
the thing about it, that game, they started off brightly and were the better side until VAR intervened on Liverpool's behalf with their opening goal, which should have been rolled out for a handball on Alexander Arnold. But we know what happens when the big six there's a goal scored and the VAR check and it's the big six, unless it's very rare that they overturn the goal. And then they just Lisa then just fell apart. Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I've seen. I
the
mean, we've both seen Newcastle sides do that in the past. You
yeah,
start off
I mean,
brightly. It's a typical relegation battle. You start off brightly, go behind, then fall apart.
yeah, I mean, the Man U game on Sunday, Forest. The reason they couldn't give the handball on Maguire was because apparently the penalty area was too congested to see.
You can see it when they showed the replay first time. You can see it clearly come off his arm, and it's one his arm was outstretched. I thought, when you look at his arm, it's like he's diving into a swimming pool. It's so far away from his body.
They're just trying to protect the big six. That's why the cartel.
Yeah.
That's the problem, Roly, and it's
I
yeah.
mean,
But
I mean, I was on up the cherries in all directions on Sunday. They've had some horrendous decisions. I think they've got a bad one in their game against Tottenham. And it says that the teams at the bottom never get anything, and the teams that are trying to disrupt the big six never get anything. And that's just the way VAR works this season. They don't want us to
yeah,
get into the Champions League. I mean, I sort of poo-pooed it a couple of seasons ago when West Ham were challenging, because my mate was saying, "Oh, they don't want West Ham to get into the Champions League," and I thought, I'm not so sure. But now you look that we're challenging, you think he's probably had a point then. But
yeah,
the thing to do, and what we have been doing all season is we've been scoring goals that they can't rule out. So
well,
if they can't rule it out, I think the one where they had the least shitty decisions is offside, but they still
yeah,
managed to screw that up. I don't understand why it takes so long to decide the offsides, because most of them, before they put the lines in, you can see whether they're offside or not.
Well, apparently to help with the offsides now, they're going to install 4 new cameras
Yeah.
at every ground.
Well, if it helps, that's great. But it's not. Offsides aren't the biggest problem. It's the other decisions.
Yeah.
Because offsides, it really depends on where they start when they stop the ball, stop the film, when they decide the ball's been struck, and where they draw the lines. It's still quite subjective which offside is, but there was some blatant handball last night, and for Man United, and then ruling out a goal because someone shoved into the goalkeeper.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's those are the ones that annoy me, because there are others where you can see why they've not given it, because they've gone with the ref. But when it's blatant, like the Harry Maguire one, the Alexander Arnold one, I don't understand why the penalty wasn't given.
No, I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm just going to jump into some comments.
Yeah.
Trolls says, hi, Tony and Roly. Hi, Trolls. Hope you're well, mate. Sefton, I know your question's there, mate, and I've got it on start. So, because we're going to come to midfielders soon, we're going to go into defence first. Lads, would you have Son from Spurs?
No.
I'll tell you what, Alan, I'll keep that question for later, mate. Hang on, we'll keep that for later. Because I'm changing my online name. People said Sefton. Oh, God, okay. Let's have it in Sefton. Mag Sefton says, Archer's in the chat. Hi, Archer. Hope you're well, mate. He says, sexy drag mag in the house. Oi, lads, let's finish in the top 4 and buy at least 6 players in the summer and 2 in the January. Do you know what, Archer? That's not a bad shout, mate. Absolutely. Yeah. Coffee says, hi, Tony, Roly and all. Hi, Coffee. Hope you're well. Italy Jet. Hey, guys. Hey, Italy Jet. Hope you're well. Great guy is Italy Jet.
On Sunday against Arsenal.
Yeah, you did well, mate. Gareth says, I think Maddison's still a main target. I think he is as well. Yeah. Absolutely. Paul says, seeing our budget of only 20 million plus player sales was stupid as 20 million buys you nothing, and selling the likes of Fraser and Lewis won't bring in massive sales. Yeah. Do you know what it is, Paul? He does it for clicks. And do you know what it is? If he has got half a brain, Luke Edwards, he would know that the money that we're going to spend this summer is going to be a hell of a lot more than just £20 million. I want to be known as Sexy Mag, says Sefton. Man, you have Maguire scoring goals for the opposition, says Coffee. Oh, God, Maguire. You mean this is Harry Maguire? There you go. Harry Maguire, if you haven't seen him, guys.
I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a clip from the Parliament in Ghana about Harry Maguire, where this guy's giving this speech and he's saying that there's this guy, Harry Maguire, who's playing for England and he was stopping everything. And then Manchester United paid was it 80 million for him, and now Harry Maguire, he helps the opposition. If they don't score, he scores own goals for them.
Yeah.
It's about 3 or 4 minute long thing, and it's hilarious. I mean, he's using Harry Maguire as the butt of the joke, but then he describes one of the cabinet ministers as their own Harry Maguire. But it's really funny. You should check it out.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Yes, that's brilliant. Ian says, Shaka Hislop said, if we get a decent offer for Bruno, we'll sell. I don't see it though. I've not seen the quotes, to be honest, but I think it's probably more tongue in cheek from Shaka Hislop. I think he means like, if we sell them for like, if somebody comes and offers like 180 million or something, then yeah, maybe. But Troll says, well, Sefton, Tony wants viewers, don't make them run away screaming. Well said, Trolls, I like it. Even Sefton like that. Roberto Frascini, hi mate, hope you're well. He says we shouldn't go in for Madison now. We need to spend money in other areas.
I don't know. I don't know on that one.
He says, I personally think we'll get Europa League, which is still decent. I mean, before a ball was kicked, I did say 7th place because I thought that was a place that you could get, because West Ham, we only finished just 7 points out of that last season. But, we've got some very good games there that we can win. And it all depends on Spurs. And I mean, yes, we're going to watch Brighton also. But I still got the inkling we'll finish in that top 4.
Yeah, I think if we beat Spurs, I think beating Spurs is crucial. If we beat Spurs, I think we can finish top 4 because it gives us a 6-point gap on them. And we've still got a game in hand. Like Brighton have got games in hand on us, but they're further back. I think they're about, I'm not sure how far back, I think they're about 8 points behind us, something like that.
Yeah.
Because
Alan says, do you think we'll get rid of Deadwood in the summer? I hope so. Yes, we will, Alan. I think without a shadow of a doubt, mate. That's not even I don't even think that would be a talking point. I think we will get rid of a lot of players in the summer.
I'm sure we're going to talk about a couple of them today.
Yep, will be. Yes, absolutely. We need quality in all areas, says Ian. Absolutely. Yeah. Roberto says, we won't be favourites against Spurs. Well, not for the media we won't, but...
Why won't we be favourites against Spurs? We're at home. They're not playing well. We've had one really bad game. I don't see us going into that game as underdogs. I really don't.
Sefton says Leicester possibly going down. That is a possibility, Sefton. I mean,
they're in real danger. They're in danger of getting cut adrift. That's the problem. They're still, they're only 3 points away from safety, but they're starting to, there's a little gap starting to build. So you've got some of the teams that are all on 27 about 3 weeks ago. You've got West Ham on 31, Bournemouth have gone to 33, Wolves 34. So there's a little gap, I think. And I think it's really the relegation places will be filled by Southampton, Leicester, Nottingham Forest, Everton, or Leeds. It'll be 3 from that 5.
The thing is, Leicester lose on Saturday, and say Forest picked up a win against Liverpool on Saturday, then that puts Forest 5 points ahead of Leicester, which means they're then 5 points adrift in the safeties to get out of safety. So they'll have to win 2 games on the spin and hope that teams lose to get out of the relegation zone. So it won't be easy for Leicester.
It's really tough, Dan. I mean, we know from experience. And the problem is when you're in the relegation zone, you've got to get out of it as soon as possible. And the longer you stay in, the harder it is to get out because we're at the point where we're running out of games. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing for us. If we beat Spurs, they will have 6 games to make up the points difference plus the goal difference.
Yeah.
And that they're relying on us slipping up.
Yeah. Ian says Spurs are no great shakes. No, they're not.
No. I mean, they're good on the day, but they haven't had that many good days recently.
No. Sefton says, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you very much indeed, Sefton. Coffee says, I heard Joe Pedro is keen on playing for Newcastle, but who isn't considering the playing championship? I'm sorry, I'm not. I look at that and I think, no, I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't, because, sorry.
It's one of those ones that I defer to Eddie. If he wants him, I'm fine with it. Because when you look at the signings we've made, can you say that?
Yeah, but for 30 million, not for 30 million. Sorry, not from a championship player. Sorry, not for 30 million pound. It's not worth 30 million.
Yeah, we may be in the future, but I think the fact that if Watford don't get promoted, I think that it makes it harder for them to ask for that sort of money. And that our owners aren't going to pay over the odds.
Mighty Max says, in my opinion, Spurs have got a harder running than us. Absolutely. BS says, too congested to see. Dan Burns handball versus Fulham. He was facing the other way. Yeah, exactly. Coffee says, no handball for Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Lurch. But Wilson gets a handball. Yeah, exactly. I know it's.
I'd still go that should have been a handball. But it's not so much that his hand was close to the body. He moved it out. He moved it away from his body to strike the ball. It was a definite red card for me. I'll disagree with you there.
Roberto says, if we don't beat Spurs, then we won't get top four. But if we beat Spurs, then we will. They have Man U next game after us. It all boils down to this Sunday. It's a huge game. Yeah, it is, Roberto. It's an absolute huge game.
But it doesn't boil down to it. We've still got a game in hand on Spurs, and we'll still have 7 games to play. So it's not losing to Spurs would be a blow, but we'd still be ahead of them with a game in hand. It's not as cut and dried, right?
No,
obviously, it won't help our momentum, but if it makes it harder, but it's still, even if we lose to Spurs, it's still in our hands. If we win out, they can't catch us.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to. The only time that I'm going to concede top 4 is when we drop out of it and there are no games to play.
Troll says, time for talking to get some games. Burners been around about for a period of time. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Mighty Max says, disagree, Roberto. If we get beat on Sunday, it's not over with. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Sefton says, I totally agree with you, Trolls. Hi, Berto. Roberto says, out of the 8 games left, we will win 3, draw 3, lose 2.
I don't think so. I don't see where those. I think he's thinking that we lose Brighton and Arsenal. I'm not convinced we will. We may do, but the other games, all the draws coming in, I'm not convinced.
Yeah,
especially if we get our mojo back on Sunday. But even so, with it, what was it? 3 wins, 3 draws, 12 points. That takes us to 68 points. The Spurs going to get 68 points for the run they've got.
No, not sure. We've got to play Liverpool.
We've got to play Manchester United and Liverpool in their running. I mean, it's possible that happens. We get 3 wins, 3 draws, and 2 defeats. I think we'll win more than that. But it's possible that 68 points. I'm not sure Spurs will get there. I mean, Villa are even further back, and they don't have games in hand. So
Coffee says PSG are apparently interested in Bruno because they're apparently regretting not signing him. Tough luck. And I tell you what, I don't think Bruno would want to go back to play in France anyway because he's done it. And not being funny, but
done that.
Why would he want to go and play for PSG, who are going to win the league every year, win the cup every year, and then when they get in the Champions League, they choke. So I don't think so.
I mean, it's like Real Madrid want to sign him. I can understand why these big clubs in Europe want to sign him. He came to the Premier League to prove himself in the Premier League because it's the best league in the world. And he's going to get what he wants. He's going to get Champions League football next season.
Yeah.
No need to move. And next season, hopefully, they'll be in a chance of winning the Premier League as well. I'm not saying we're going to, but we're going to improve. So we're going to have a better chance of it.
Yeah, I'm just going to run through some of these comments because we're a bit behind. Bruno's not for sale at any price at this moment in time, absolutely. Trolls, Bruno, anytime he Seattle, he goes home, absolutely. Mighty Max says, not for sale. Paul says, who will we get beat by, as I can't see us getting beat at St James's Park and playing away at Leeds, Everton and Chelsea won't be hard. Exactly, Paul, I see your point. Chelsea are on a wretched run at the moment. Roberto says, I'm very much a realist when it comes to football. Yeah, me too, mate. I am as well.
Yeah, I
I
think you're a
mean,
little bit pessimistic there, Roberto. I think we're better than your your thinking. But yeah, I can see it being written. There's a bit of realism in there, but I think you're being a bit half glass half empty rather than half full on the running. We've got quite a decent running. So obviously we've got Spurs, we've got Leicester, we've got Leeds, Chelsea. Like Brighton's a hard one, Arsenal's a hard one. Who else have we got? So, I mean, we've got eminently winnable games. Everton away. Yeah, it's not
yeah,
going to be easy because you've got to turn up. No game is easy in the Premier League.
no,
You have to turn up. But
yeah.
I think that we're good enough and have shown throughout the season that we're good enough to take the majority of the points in our running. If we do
Troll
that,
says, yeah.
we'll
Um,
win the
we played
Champions League.
extremely bad against Villa, but I'm not sure we will win against Spurs. But that's just me though. No, that's fine. I mean,
It
I'm
depends,
sure we'll turn in a good performance.
depends which
Looks
Spurs
like,
turn up.
yeah, looks like Liverpool are pushing for top four now, says Alan. They're going to try,
Um,
aren't they? Going to
um,
make a late surge, but that was a
yeah,
poor Leeds side last night. Let's
yeah.
be real.
And
Alan
I think
says,
the
"What?
other thing about Leeds, Liverpool is they've got no games in hand, and they've got to make up 9 points in in 8 games. That relies on us losing or not picking up points in a lot of games, and they've got to win out. And they're not going to win out.
Yeah."
So
Alan
they've
says,
not shown at any point in this. They've shown it in the past, but they've not shown at any point in the season that they're capable of putting a run of 8 games together.
hmm. uh, Alan, I'm going to come to that in a moment because we're going to get into something else because we're losing track. But I need to get in just through these comments. Sorry, guys. Patrick says Man U injuries are stacking up too. Absolutely.
No.
Roberto says, Roly, you got to be realistic, pal. How many games do you thinking we can win out of the 8 left?
Uh,
We've drawn more than anyone this
right.
season, he says. And why is
Yeah,
everyone thinking about Spurs yet no one mentions Villa or Brighton?
I think Villa again. I think we've got a game in hand on Villa, and they're 6 points behind us. A better goal
Yeah,
difference. Brighton are further back. They've got games in hand. They're a good side. But I think it's the things they're running out of games. The things, if we put a run of 3 or 4 games together, it makes it extremely hard for people to close that gap in the final 4 games. Now, I think that we can, realistically, I think we can win 4 to 5 of the remaining games,
as Paul
possibly
says
more.
there, he says we've got games against Leicester at home and Southampton at home. There's 2 easy wins.
Yeah.
Leeds and Everton away and Chelsea are terrible. So I
Yeah.
don't fear them. The only teams I fear is Arsenal and Brighton.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, because
Ian.
there's 5 games we can win there.
Mhm.
That takes us 71 points.
Yeah.
Arsenal's going to be an interesting game because are Arsenal bottling it like they did last season when they're trying to get into the Champions League?
Yeah.
Because against West Ham, first 15, 20 minutes, they were electric.
Yeah.
Then they fell apart and they were very lucky to go out of the London Stadium with a point.
Mm.
West Ham outplayed them for a good 55 minutes of that game.
Ian Toon Trader, Tony and Roly, hope you are well. Yeah, absolutely buzzing, pal. Great, thank you very much. I hope you're well also, mate. Nothing easy in the Premier League. We've drew games that we shouldn't have been from. Now there is 8 games left. Teams are fighting for survival, so games will be harder. We just got to keep our feet grounded, says Roberto. That's fair enough.
I totally agree with that, but I think there are at least 5 games that are winnable without kicking a ball. Then there are another 3 games that are going to be tough and that could go either way. But there's no reason why we can't beat the likes of Southampton at home, Leicester, Everton, Chelsea, and who's the other one? Was I don't see. There's no reason why we can't beat Spurs.
Yeah.
That's sort of five wins there. Arsenal and Brighton are the really tough games. So they've got Leeds as well. So
Paul says Leeds have been spanked at home 2 games in a row, 11 goals conceded and 2 scored. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bia says Brighton's a tough game for me. They've been excellent. Absolutely.
Yes, they have.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think Spurs and Arsenal should merge and be called a North London bottler, says BFM Kim. Yeah, absolutely. The Godfather evening, folks. A few more clubs are interested in Bruno. Would the club accept 80 million plus?
No.
I think it would be a lot more than that.
Double it and they might think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be clubs interested in him because he's such a good player.
Ian says our hardest games are all at home, so we are going to be fine. One shape performance doesn't change that. We're a good team. Absolutely, Ian.
Absolutely.
Alan says this business end of the season, teams have done it before, i.e. Tottenham and the Skip Rats. Yeah, absolutely, Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Paul says Villa have hard games too. They've got to play Liverpool, Spurs and Brighton. Definitely. Yeah. Alan says Brighton's a big threat as well. They are, absolutely.
Yeah, they're a threat, but they say at the end of the day, where we are, they would swap places with us.
Yeah.
Right now, we're in the driving seat for this top 4. It's up to us to put in the performances and get the results that keeps us there. I'm not saying we're going to win out our games, but if we win out our games, there's nothing anyone else can do about it. We can afford to lose we can afford to lose a game and still win out, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. We'll still finish top 4. So it's in our hands.
Sefton says there, whatever happens, it's 100% better than last season. Onwards and upwards, how are the lads? You're absolutely right, Sefton. And I know I've said this before, and I know like Sir John Sinclair was quite disappointed when I said this to him on his show once, and I said, look, it's not me being negative, it's not me being down or anything. Again, I was being realistic. At the beginning of the season, before a ball was even kicked, I did say that we would finish 7th place, win the Carabao Cup, get the semi-finals of the FA Cup. We didn't quite get that far in the FA Cup. We got the final of the Carabao Cup. And I've always said, even if we didn't finish in the top 4, we finished 7th, I personally would not be disappointed because at the beginning of the season, I said we would make 7th. And so even if I'm not saying we're going to finish as low as 7th, but I'm just saying if we did, I wouldn't be disappointed because I think, that prediction came right because I said 7th and it's spot on. So, so I'm not being. Sorry, Roly?
So my prediction was between 8th and 6th at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I think one of the things people saying, right, we played bad. We've had a few bad performances and got some good results. If you're going into before we kicked the ball in the last three away games, I don't think anyone would have grumbled about getting 6 points out of those 3 games. People said, we're going to get caught by Liverpool or Brighton and stuff. The thing, they are relying on us slipping up.
Yeah, they are. Alan says, remember, these teams are fighting for survival. There are no gimmies. Remember, the draws at Christmas period. Absolutely. You're right, Alan. Yeah. I mean, even Roberto says he's right. And then Alan says, yeah, but we couldn't beat Leeds at home. Yes, we couldn't. But that was under Jesse Marsh, who parked the bus, Alan. And that is the problem. But Javi Garcia seems to be wanting them to attack teams. And if that's the case, they're leaving gaps wide open as wide as the River Tyne. So, teams are just bulldozing them. That is the difference between the two managers. One just put the whole 11 behind the ball, where the other one is letting them have the freedom of leads, and it's not helping them because everybody's just bulldozing them.
Just to put it into context, right? We couldn't beat them at home. They played Crystal Palace, who 3 games ago couldn't actually get a shot on target they scored 5 against them.
Yeah.
I think that there are no easy games in the Premier League. If you don't show up, you can get beat by anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you see some of the results. I mean, some of the teams, Man City got beat by Liverpool, getting beaten by Forest and Bournemouth and the like. There are no easy games in the Premier League. You have to be on top form. We proved that against Villa. We weren't there and we got thumped.
So go for that. Says Newcastle and Brighton the Champions League doesn't sound right, but it would do. Roberto says I'm in Newcastle through and through. Would love us to get top 4, but I think we miss out. I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see it happening. What will be at the end of the day.
Sorry, Roberto. I don't see why you think we're going to miss out. I really don't understand that. I don't. Is it that you? I mean, we're in the prime position. It's in our hands. Are you thinking that we're going to fall apart in these last 8 games and drop loads of points? It's just that I've got so used to over the years the team falling apart. But when you look at our record since Eddie's been in charge, since we started winning games, we've hardly dropped. We've only lost 4 games all season. I just don't see why you're so pessimistic. I mean, you have every right to be. I just don't understand why you think we're going to miss out. We may miss out, but I don't see why you're convinced we're going to miss out at this point.
I mean, Alan says, yeah, Roly, destiny's in our own hands, and these other teams need to win to all do to catch, assuming we drop points. But football is never just straightforward. Absolutely not. Right. We're going to go on to transfers now because we've been on the show 42 minutes and we haven't talked about one transfer yet. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just read Bia's comment out and then we're going to go on to the transfers. He says, my only worry is VAR working overtime for its chosen teams. Can't wait to hear that Champions League music. Absolutely. And I'm not pessimistic. I think we'll qualify, but can't write them off like you. No, absolutely not.
I'm not
right.
I'm just saying we're in the prime position.
Right.
They've got to win more than we have to.
Yeah. So if we're going to sign, if we're looking at players in the summer, I know there's touting around that we're looking at a left back for the summer. Now then, there's one left back comes up for me, and I mean, I had a comment earlier on from I think it was Alan. Yes, it was. It was Alan Little. He says, lads, what about the left back Alex Grimaldo from Benfica? Well, there he is there on screen now, Alan. From your start question. I mean, Grimaldo, yes, he's a hell of a left back. He's out of contract in the summer. He's 27 years old, 5'7". Obviously, he's worth 24 million euros, but he's out of contract, so he's on a free. His strengths are direct free kicks and passing. No outstanding weaknesses. Can play defensive left and midfield left, so you could use him as a wing back. So let's look at his stats in Liga Portugal, the Primeira Liga. So he's played 27 out of 27. He's been in Team of the Week 8 times this season. He's got 2 goals. He's got 8 assists. His passing is 86% accurate per game. His crosses are 23% accurate per game. He's been involved with 12 clean sheets. And he's had no errors that led to a shot, no errors led to a goal, and no penalties committed. And in 27 games, he's only picked up 3 yellow cards as well. So this guy is class. And he's on a free in the summer. Now, I know we looked at Alphonso Davies, and I know the club are looking at Alphonso Davies as well, but he's going to cost a lot of money. But this guy out of contract, on a free, in the summer. Do you know what? For me, I say yes, it's a no-brainer. Roly, Alex Grimaldo from
Yeah,
Benfica.
yeah, I agree with you, especially as it's a free transfer. My only worry is who else is going to go in for him. As if you get a Real Madrid or a Barcelona coming in for him, it's going to go there. Um, but
Not necessarily Roly, but who's to
yeah,
say that? Who's to say that we haven't been in contact with these agents and maybe
yeah.
they've said, "Look, we want to see where you finish."
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that. I mean, I would, especially being in Portuguese, if one of the big two Spanish clubs came in for him, you expect him to go there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he is
But
ex-Barcelona.
yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, I think we might actually look at some because there's quite a few class players who are out of contract in the summer, and I think that we might pick up a couple of free transfers, and he would be an excellent signing. His stats look good. He's got Champions League experience, which is something that we'll need going into the Champions League next season, providing we qualify. I think
Yeah.
he'd be a great addition to the club.
Grimaldo all day says trolls. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I am going to come to that Roberto soon, mate. Sefton says here. Jake says Benzema.
No, no,
Nah, I think he's staying at Madrid till he sees his days
yeah,
out.
no.
He would take Son. Roberto also says I'd love to sign Gonzalo Ramos from Benfica to replace Wilson. Um, yeah, he's a great player. He's a good striker. We'll get the strikers soon. We only do. Troll says would take Son. Just the transfer fee would be sky high.
I
I'd
don't
even
think
take Mason Mount on a free in the summer, says Roberto. Paul says, I know we have signed a young right back, but I'd still like us to try for Tarek Lamptey. Yes, he's had a few injuries, but I still think he's got quality. Tarek Lamptey, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it.
I don't think I'd take him as a right back.
No.
Maybe as a wide right player. But I don't think he's a fullback.
Yeah. Right. There's another one that we could add into the defence as well. I mean, we will be looking at centre backs, I would imagine, also. And I'll bring this player up on screen in a moment when I get his picture up. Just 1 second. I'll get it on there. Hang on a moment. I mean, this is another player who, you know, could be one to bring in maybe. I'm just trying to get a decent picture, guys, so just bear with me. So there we go. I've got one there. Okay, so right, let's share that on screen. So you see that picture there now. So that is Evan Ndicka of Eintracht Frankfurt. Yes, he's a left-footed centre-back. We know that. Now, he's out of contract in the summer. Another one on a free. 23-year-old French international. His weaknesses are his long balls, but his positioning is his strengths. He can play left-back as well as also defensive centre. In the Bundesliga, he's played 26 out of 26 games, been in Team of the Week twice. He's got 1 goal. Obviously got no assists because he's playing as a centre-half. He's been involved with 5 clean sheets. He's gave 1 penalty away all season. And he's had 4 yellow cards. But his passing is 86% accurate per game. Now, again, this is a guy on a free transfer in the summer. Botman, bear in mind, can play with both feet. So Botman could shift and be a right centre back as well. But, I mean, but the thing is, though, Roly, you need strength and depth. And he's going to provide that for you, because not only can he play centre half, but he can play left back as well. And I think Evan Dicker is one heck of a defender. I rate this guy highly.
Yeah, weren't we looking at him in January last year?
And his price was high.
Yeah,
but now he's out of contract in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like the idea of moving Botman to the right-hand side, even though he can play with both feet. But it's an intriguing prospect, especially on a free transfer. He's. I mean, I've not seen him play, but from all that I've heard, he seems like to be a solid prospect. That's the sort of player
and he's young.
We're looking at. Yeah, that's the sort of player we're looking at. And on a free transfer, it may be. So if you get him, you just push Dan Burn down the pecking order. And it provides competition for Botman.
Sefton says Jude Bellingham, but we couldn't afford him. Lamptey, now we need better than that, says Roberto. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
we have been scouting German youngster Virit's defender, says Alan. Yes, I've heard that one. Yeah, I've heard that name come up. Monet could leave Bayern. I'd take him in a heartbeat. He knows the Premier League.
Yeah, I suppose it does.
Alan says, I agree. Tony Grimaldo looks a class act. I hope we get him. It would be a fantastic sign, Alan. Yeah, absolutely. Jake says, what about Saka? I would have Saka.
I would have him, but he's not leaving Arsenal.
I think he's a cracking player, Saka, isn't he? I mean, he's only got a year left on his deal in the summer. You know.
Well timed that.
And his dad's a big Newcastle fan. You know.
If he wants to come to the team, he'll be welcomed with open arms.
He's got 12 goals and 10 assists a season for Arsenal. You know, yeah, I mean,
one hell of a player.
He's rated at 115 million euros, by the way. But yeah, Marnie, Diaby from Leverkusen looks like he's on his way to us, says Roberto. Yeah, I think so. Rico Lewis on loan from City, please. Yes, he looks a hell of a player, but I can't see City letting him go on. I can't see City letting him go because he's playing in their team at the moment, and he's playing games for them. Troll says, so this player has nudes, decent picture. That would be a brilliant signing. Bella Kotchup is backup centre back, says Paul.
I don't know.
Bias says we'll go back for Mitchell Bakker. We could well do, actually, yeah. Diaby, indeed, said Sefton. One player we should try and get is Chiesa from Juve. The young lad is unreal, and also Vlahovic from Juve. Do you know what it is, Roberto? I would love Chiesa. I would absolutely love him at the Toon because he is a great player. And watching him in the Euros, he was absolutely electric, wasn't he? And his dad weren't a bad player either. You know, so yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, I would definitely take Chiesa, that's for sure. You know, Federico Chiesa, how much would he be though? That's the thing. I mean, he's 25. You know, and looking at his stats in the in Serie A this season, he's only started 2 out of 13 he's played. Hasn't got any goals, and he's got 3 assists. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's 25 and he's worth 46 million euros. He can play up front, midfield left, midfield right. So he's versatile. I think he's been bogged by injuries this season, but he could be a player on the radar. Who knows? But Italian players sometimes come into the Premier League and don't really cut it. We've seen that. Gary says all games in the Championship are 0-0 as it stands, lads. Thank you very much indeed, Gary, and hope you're well, Gary D. Would take Davies from Bayern, says Trolls. I mean, Trolls, yeah. I mean, we would all take Alphonso Davies. I mean, what a player he is. I mean, I would have him in a heartbeat. He'll be expensive though.
Yeah.
Alphonso Davies, but I tell you what, he's one hell of a left back, and I would definitely take him. That's for sure. But how much would he? I mean, well, I think he's rated at about 68 million euros at the moment. But again, it's one of them. Would Bayern sell him? That's the thing. That's what you got to look at. He's got no weaknesses, but he's high pressing and ball controls his strengths. It's a difficult one. I mean, I would have him. Yeah, no doubt about it. I would take him, but it's just whether they would let him go, though. That's the thing.
It'd be expensive to get.
I mean, he's got 4 assists this season, and he's got 6 clean sheets and no bookings or anything at all this season. So it's very well for discipline.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but just going to small comments before we look at another players. We need Pope to become better with his feet, otherwise we need a better keeper, says Roberto.
Yeah, he does need to improve his footwork.
He does, yeah. His footwork's always been his issue, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sefton says, lads, what's our transfer kit in the summer? I ain't got a clue, Sefton. Nobody knows that. The thing is, though,
it's 20 million.
Yeah, I don't know how they know all this. Roberto says Tomori from Milan will be a decent signing, good English player. Yes, he is. I mean, why Chelsea got rid of him? I mean, he's one of the best centre-backs in Serie A. But the thing is, though, he's one of the best centre-backs in Serie A, but can't get in the England team. I find that very strange. You just can't get in the team ahead of Harry Maguire. I find it very strange how he gets in the team ahead of Tomori, and I've got to agree he is a cracking player. Vlahovic having a stinker of a season, carrying an injury, I would stay well clear, says Bia. That's interesting. Tonali, yes, Tonali. Do you know what? Oh, this guy, I would have him in a heartbeat. I said this last season. Please go and get Tonali. He is a hell of a defensive midfielder. The perfect number 6. Do you know much about Tonali?
No, I don't, to be honest. Don't know anything about him.
I mean, he owes class. He really does. Sandro Tonali of Milan. AC Milan, by the way. I mean, in Serie A this season, he's started 23 out of 26 games, being team of the week twice. His strengths are playmaking. He plays defensive midfield or midfield centre. He's got 2 goals and 5 assists. I mean, Sandro Tonali, yeah, cracking player. Again, all day, I would take him as well, but he would come at a huge cost, I think. That's the only problem. I think he comes at a... I mean, he's got a contract till 2027, so, it's not like it's just a couple of years left or whatever. I mean, they rate number 46 million euros, but I think it would be a little bit more than that, in my opinion. if we were to get him through the door, because I mean, he came on against England and almost changed the game for Italy. That I just rate this lad highly. I really do. And like I say, if there was a chance of us even remotely getting close to getting him, then I tell you what, I really would take him. And he has his picture coming on screen in case anybody's wondering what Sandro Tonali looks like. There you go. And that's him there. Roberto says Flyvich is young. Hoovy as a whole is stinking the season. Maybe once out of there. Yeah, they've had those deductions, so yeah, they will do. Ian says, have to get off, guys. We'll catch you later. Yeah, no worries, Ian. Just catch up later, mate. Coleman from Bayern would be great for us too. Born winner. Yeah, that's another one there. Roberto, got to go. Take care, says Troll. See you later, mate.
See you, Troll.
Seen us linked with Brahim Diaz as well. Don't know who that is.
No, not all right.
Southgate hasn't a clue. That's why, says Roberto. By Troll. I mean, so the next player we're going to go to obviously is another one. I've put the comment in there that starred. Andrew says top 6 players I would like is Madison, Diaby, Ferland Mendy, Jude Bellingham, Osimhen, and De Upamecano in January. Barnes and Dumfries. Do you know what, Andrew? That's not a bad shout, mate. That's not bad. There's some cracking players in there, though, mate. I don't know how much it would cost, but it costs for a hell of a lot of money. But yeah, if there was no financial fair play, we could just go out and buy every single one of them, and it wouldn't even put a dent in the bank balance.
Absolutely. Of those, I think the realistic ones are Madison and Diaby.
Roberto says, getting off, chaps. Take care. Thank you very much, Roberto. Take care, my friend. And Paul says, Diaz plays for AC Milan. Was at City a few years ago before signing for Madrid. Ah, right. Okay, then, mate. No worries. We'll have to have a look. I mean, yeah, I'm just going into the starred comments that I starred earlier. There was one from Alan. There we are. Alan says, I would like to see Savic from Lazio. I mean, Milinkovic-Savic, yes, another cracking player. I would take him. He's obviously not signed a new deal at... he's not going to sign a new deal. So, again, yeah,
is he
I
in
would
this
take
last
him.
year of his contract, or would it be a free in the summer?
I think he's on a... I think he's got a year left, Roly.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
still
he has. I think he's got a
position for us.
Yeah.
I
think he's got a year left, Roly, but I'll double check that and I'll tell you.
That's what I thought.
Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, right. 2024, his contract runs out. He's 28, 6'3". He's rated at 62 million euros, but I think you get him a lot cheaper than that with him having 1 year left. He's playmaking, high pressing, and direct free kicks are his strengths, and he's got no weaknesses.
Yeah.
27 out of 28 played, 6 goals, 8 assists.
Nice haul.
And he scored 3 goals with his left foot and 3 with his right foot. Yeah. And he has 8 yellow cards, but no reds.
Yeah, I'd take him.
Yeah, Savage all day. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Sefton says, Alejandro Baldi, we get him from Barcelona. Yeah, it's another option, isn't it? Yeah.
I think one of the good things about our situation now is that we can talk about all these players. It's not out of the question that we get any of them. Where with the previous owner, you look at all these players and think we're never going to get any of them.
I mean, Sefton says, "What's the chances of Madison in the summer?" I think
I think
it's
they're quite good,
highly likely we'll get him.
especially if they
What's
go
your
down.
yeah? And I think we'll get him cheaper if they go down.
Yeah, because they're going to have a fire sale.
Cool. Aren't they just?
Uh, um, they've only got a few really saleable assets. There's him, there's Harvey Barnes. Tielemans
Yeah.
goes on a free, and then there's not much else.
Mm. So yeah, so we'll say yes to that one. Now, obviously, Alan asked about Son from Spurs, and you said you wouldn't have him. And Roberto
No.
says, "Why wouldn't you have him?"
I think it's more his age. It costs too much for his age, and he's on the downward part of his career. He's been at his peak and will start to come off it relatively quickly. Well, he starts at the downturn. He's still a hell of a player, but I just don't think that he'd fit into what we're trying to do. He's more of
Yeah,
a
he is
counter-attack.
a
He's not
30-year-old now.
Spurs don't press like we do; they counter-attack. He's
Yeah,
great. Don't get me wrong; he's a really good player. I just don't think he'd fit into a system, and I think he'd cost too much for his age.
yeah. He's still got a couple of years on his contract, so yeah. And he's 30-year-old now as well.
But yeah, he's a tremendous player. Don't get me wrong there. I just don't think he
Sefton
fits.
says, "Good player, Son." No, yeah, he is.
I don't think he fits the model that we're working to.
Yeah,
That's all. And I think it costs too much. There's no value for us in that deal for Son, and that's if Spurs will let him go.
well, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. If Spurs would let him go, that's the issue, isn't it? So, right, okay, so right, we've looked at players coming in. Now let's look at players possibly leaving the club. I mean, first of all, would you keep or sell Dubravka in the summer?
Oh,
And joining in the chat as well.
That's a difficult question.
Well, you've got to answer the difficult questions, Roly.
Yeah, I know. I think part of it is if he's happy to be number 2 to Pope. But if we get a decent offer, I'd let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get a decent offer for him. Then I'd let him go. Not because I don't think he's a good goalkeeper. I just think that, yeah, he's done his time. He's served us well. I'm not too worried about the spat about going to Man United and stuff. He's come back. He's been professional in doing his job when he's been back and when he's been called on, which is what you want. He's been a good keeper for us over the years. I won't be sorry if he goes, but there again, I won't be ecstatic if he stays either. So I won't be sorry if he stays. I think that he'll probably, if we get a good offer for him, I think we'd let him go.
Yeah. Sefton says, I agree with Rory's age is a big factor. Paul says, sell him, need to buy a good backup keeper. Yeah, I'll go with that one. Right, okay then. So is a keep or sell for you for Dubravka? For me, it's a sell.
If the right offer comes in, it's a sell for me as well.
It's a sell for you as well. Okay. Right. We're staying in the theme of goalkeepers. Next keeper on the screen. Keep or sell. Now, my opinion, I would keep. Give him a new contract and keep him as backup. Because I thought he played all right in that Carabao Cup final. He didn't have a clangers. And, you know, he was unfortunate on the second goal because he would have saved it had it not come off Botman's foot. First one, he could do nothing about the header. It was a superb header from Casemiro. And I thought he pulled off some great saves in that game because he kept the score down to 2. I would keep him, Roly.
Yeah, I think I would as well. He's, for a goalkeeper, he's still quite young. So is he 28?
29.
29? That's still quite young for a goalkeeper. So he's got a lot of room to grow and be a decent backup for Pope. Yeah, I'd keep him. And he'd be cheap, wages-wise as well.
Yeah, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. Alan says sell to Bravka as well. Yeah, they're on that camp. Right, okay. As we're sticking with keepers, now the next goalkeeper coming on screen is Caldolo. Now, Caldolo, keep or sell. I think his time's up now. I think maybe time for him to move on. Hopefully, he ends up having a good season with Hull, and maybe Hull might want to sign him in the summer. Maybe he wants to go in the summer. Who knows? I think it'll do his career good if he went off to a championship club now, or bottom half of the Premier League even. I mean, I would sell. What about you, Roly?
Yeah, I'd sell. Again, he served us well when called upon. But I think he's at that age. Was he 30, 31, something like that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to be playing football. He needs to be first team, playing first team football. So I think for his career, he should go. And I think that we have better keepers.
Yeah.
So I think we should sell. It's been a decent servant for the club. It's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Rarely let us down, but I just think that we're going in a different direction to his career. He's not the keeper to take us to where we want to go, even as a backup.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one. Yeah, he's done his time, so I think, yeah, it's probably the right thing to let him go. Darlow's actually 32. He's 33 in October this year.
Yeah, 40 is well, not old, but he's because he's been at the club for 8 years or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, he's rated at 1.3 million euros on SofaScore. That's his rating for that. A couple of bad saves in the final, says Alan M, but nothing special. Yeah, but I would still see keep him as a backup. Gareth says, take care, both got to go. Yep, see you later, yeah. Gareth. Thank you very much, mate. Carrius, keep second keeper, says Alan Little. Yeah. Alan says, not good enough, Darlow. No, not now, he's not. Mark says, none of our backup keepers challenged Nick Pope for that reason. Sell and buy a player who can challenge. Absolutely, Mark. 100%. I would say Chevalier from
the French
from Lille would be good. But I'll keep Carrius. That's the only one I would keep, I would say.
And the thing is, if you're getting rid of Dubravka and Darlow, you do need another keeper. And then you get someone who's going to challenge Darlow. Not Darlow, Pope.
Alan says, get rid of Darlow. Yeah, absolutely. Right, the next player I'm going to come to is there's a lot of speculation around this player. So some media reports have said this player is not happy at Newcastle now and is looking to move on in the summer maybe. Some are saying Eddie Howe wants to move him on in the summer. So here he is, Matt Targett. Again, if we're looking, because we're in the market for a left back, keep or sell Roly.
Ooh, difficult one because he's, to be honest, he didn't lose his place in the team through playing badly. He got ill, and
yeah, exactly.
Dan Burn shuffled over to left back. We went on that terrific clean sheet run, so he couldn't get back into the team. It's a squad player. I'd keep him.
Yeah.
Especially if we're getting a another left back in, we need a. I think we need a dedicated. I think this season has proved we need a dedicated left back as a backup,
Mm-hmm.
and for that reason, I'd keep him.
Yeah, you would keep.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I would keep him as backup as well. I wouldn't say no to keeping him as a backup, but yeah. So yeah, I would say keep him. That's for sure. Right now, next player that's going to come on the screen is um, another one. Is he a keep or a sell? Jamal Lascelles. Now, I say yes, if we get another centre back, sell him in the summer.
yeah.
Get rid.
I'm in 100% agreement with you there. If we get another centre back, yeah, you let him go.
Yeah.
Getting great servant for the club, especially in the dark days. A consummate professional, obviously highly thought up behind the scenes, but he's not going to start a game for us unless we have an injury ravage. The centre backs, he's not going to start. Though when he has played this season, he's not let us down. He was good in the game at Anfield, and he was good against Man City when Fabian Schär was out. So yeah, I think we need to find someone younger that can challenge or be an understudy to Fabian Schär. It's one of those ones. It's sort of a shame to see him go because of how he's been for the club, but he's not at the level that we're at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one player we definitely know is going in the summer is him because obviously the clause has been activated, so he signs for first in the summer regardless. Now, I'm not saying sell this player. Would you keep this player or loan him out next season? Elliot Anderson.
I'd keep him.
Yeah, I would as well.
He's contributed this season. He's mainly as a sub. Right, he did get that start against Liverpool, but then was subbed off when Pope was sent off. I think that, especially against Nottingham Forest, he did really well. Yeah, no, you keep him. You don't send him out on loan. I think that you can see the progress he's made. I think the thing is with Elliot Anderson is that he needed that loan spell at Bristol Rovers last season.
Yes,
now he's come back and he's training with top class players and he's improving. If you send him out on loan, he's going to be training with lesser players. He's not going to learn as much as he would staying with us. So you keep him at the club.
Yeah. Just some news that's on the Telegraph at the moment, and they're stating that obviously there's teams looking at players from Newcastle, and the club have apparently said that Bruno, Alexander Isak, and Sven Botman will not be sold, with the club making it clear that any bids will be rejected for our star trio.
Yeah, so it should be.
So there we go. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if that was Ashley, he'd be rubbing his hands thinking, ooh, I can make all this money.
Yeah. Mark says, I think the Cells will want to leave this summer, so I think it's a sell for me. Great servant the club, especially under Rafa. Absolutely,
yeah,
mate.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Cells has to go, and he says, Alan says, keep Anderson, he will get better.
Yeah. I think with the Cells, I think a lot of it will depend on who we bring in, whether they let them, who we bring in, or if they get an offer that's too good to refuse. If we don't bring a centre back in, they won't. I don't think they'll actively push him out unless someone comes in with a good offer.
Yeah. Right. Next player on the agenda. I'm in the definitely sell camp anyway, but I want to ask you the question: do you want to keep Marcellum Roly, or he's added to his price tag anyway? There we go. Ryan Fraser, Michael Owen Mark II, as I call him. I call him Michael Owen Mark II.
Ryan Fraser. What am I going to say? Superstar. Oh, we've got to
He's just
keep
added to
him.
his value with that goal yesterday.
Yeah, we've got to keep him on the transfer list. He's a sell. He's a sell.
Yeah, that's
He's
definitely a
fallen out with
no-brainer.
Eddie, and that's enough to sell him for me.
Yeah, absolutely. He got to sell him in the summer. He's got to go, hasn't he? At the end of the day.
And to be honest, what we've seen of him this season, before he had the spat with Eddie, is not being to the standard of where we're going.
Yeah. Right. There's still rumblings on about this player as well. And before I get this player, I'm going to just go into the comments. They have to keep those three. It's pointless otherwise. Any progress is down the pan, says Alan. Absolutely. Jake says after that goal, get him back in the first team. Alan says Bruno, Isak and Botman is our backbone of the team. Absolutely. There's no way they're going at all. So I wouldn't worry about it because our owners aren't. We're not a selling club like we used to be. And that's the difference.
We've got
Roly, this next player, and I know this is a player that splits a lot of opinions.
I don't know who it might be.
He splits a lot of opinions. Yes, no, maybes, yes. And so the player that I'm going to bring on screen, and like I say, there's been a bit of activity about him, whether he's going to stay, go in the summer or whatever. Is he rejected a new deal? Are we not offering him a new deal? And that is ESM. Now then, Roly, ESM, keep or sell for say 50 million in the summer?
I'd still keep him at 50. I think that his injuries are a bit of a problem. He's been injured a lot this season, but I think the way he's playing before he had this latest injury that's the ASM we want. He's tracking back, doing his defensive duties. Not expecting him to defend like Botman, but he's getting back and helping out. Going forward, he's being intelligent. He's not just running and beating men twice. He's actually looking to see who else is there. The first thing he does when he gets the ball is look up, see where everyone is before he starts charging forward. He's got a few assists and could have had more. I think he's turning into the player that we want him to be. So I'm a definite keep.
Yeah, well, Roly, I would sort of keep, but do you know what? I think of his injuries, maybe Eddie Howe wants somebody who's going to stay fit most of the season. I just think that niggly injuries he's been picking up, and I just think if the price is right, he goes.
Yeah, but I think the price would need to be.
I would keep him as a squad player and an impact sub.
Yeah. The price has got to be right to let him go. 50 million, I'd think about it, but probably keep him. Once you start getting to 55, I'd probably take it. I think there's still a lot more to come. I mean, a lot of it's like things with these quick players. Once they get a hamstring in the season, it tends to nag away, and I think what they tend to do is that Eriksen is so eager to play that he'll play through the pain, and then it goes and does it more injured, and then he'll try and come back a little bit quicker than he should do. So I don't know how long he's out for now. I think I'm not sure how bad it is.
ESM.
Yeah.
There's talk he might be back Sunday.
Yeah.
He might be ahead of schedule.
Yeah, that's. I mean, if he is, that's great.
Because he's been in the oxygen tank.
Yeah, I mean, he tends to sort of heal quite well, but all these explosive players, they always have problems with the hamstrings. That's one of the problems with Callum Wilson, because he's quite an explosive player.
Mm-hmm.
I'd definitely keep him because I think there's a lot more to come from him. Now he's bought in fully to Eddie Howe's ways, because you've seen in the last few games he's played that he was tracking back and he got his hamstring against Wolves, sprinting back to try and make the tackle. So he's bought in, and now seems to it's the pennies dropped, and he's making good decisions with the ball. He's created He's created quite a few chances. And obviously, he's got the assist for Willock against Man United. That's the max we want. And if he's playing like that, you don't let him go.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan says, what is it with Fraser and you, Tony? Because he fell out with Howe. We all know he's not good enough. No, what it is, Alan, is, I mean, look, he had potential, Ryan Fraser, but he hasn't shown it in Newcastle, unfortunately. And so why I call him Michael Owen Mark II is because when Michael Owen played for Newcastle, yes, he scored goals and he was injured, and he had a lot of drab games for us. But when he went off to play for England, he was magnificent, brilliant. Same with Ryan Fraser, plays crap for us, goes off to Scotland, sets goals up for Lyndon Dykes. He sets him up with 2 goals against Ukraine, and he does it on a regular basis for Scotland. And I think, well, hang on, if you can play like that for Scotland, why aren't you doing it at St James's Park? Why can't you do it for Newcastle? Why can't you knuckle down and get on with Eddie Howe and get on with the way the team play? So to me, it's nothing me concerned with Fraser, but I just want him gone in the summer. He has to go, in my opinion, he has to go in the summer because quite clearly he's in under 21s because he's not committed to the team. And when you're not committed, then the right thing has been done. And that's that. And I just brought it up because it's obviously a buy, keep and sell. And I just wanted to, that was just my opinion. And we've obviously got Roly's opinion. And Mark says, Ryan Fraser wasted potential for me. Sell, absolutely. Alan says, Fraser out. Sefton says, Fraser's completed his stay now. He needs to move on. Absolutely, Sefton. So I hope that answers your question, Alan M. ESM, sell if the price is right, says Alan. Sefton says, controversial with ESM, but I'd say keeping the squad.
Yeah.
Mark says, if ESM was to leave, we all know it's one departure that will hurt the fan base. Certainly splits opinion, but this would depend on who replaces him for me. That's the thing, Mark. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head.
You have to replace him. That's another reason for not. You're selling a potential starting winger, so we need to replace him. And players with his ability don't come cheap. So,
Craig says, evening, sorry I'm late. Sell everyone. Good evening, Craig. Hi, Craig. Oh, nice. Alan says, all right, and he'll be off soon. Yes, of course he will, Alan. Yeah, definitely he'll be off in the summer without a doubt, mate. I'm sure that depends how much we get for him, and who wants to buy him and who's going to pay his 80 grand a week wages. So we shall see. But we're coming to the end of the show now, guys. We've been going an hour and a half, but we've had a good old chat there, and it's been brilliant again tonight. And all the comments have been fantastic from everybody. Roly, do you want to let people know where they can find you on your social media haunts?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Poles67.
So there we go. You can find Roly on Twitter. If you haven't seen it yet, then there is a great website to check out, and it's called northwestmags.com. Go and check it out. Sefton, who's in the chat, or the other names he likes to be called. I'm not going to big him up too much. The S-Mag. So yeah, go and check it out. Great website. Lots to see and do on there. You can interact with people, and it's great. So go and check it out. Absolutely brilliant. Also, if you've liked what you've seen tonight, then please smash that like. It really does help the channel up with search results. So if you haven't yet smashed that like, please do on the way out. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, then hit the subscribe. Free to do so, helps the channel grow. And that bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record, or any upcoming shows. So currently on 488 subscribers, so I'm 12 away now from 500. So that would be magnificent if I got to 500 before the end of the week. That would be brilliant. And you can find me on Tony Tooney 31, Tony Tooney 31 on Twitter, and the same name on Twitch as well. Just going into some. Craig says ESM is really fit. That's it's 3 good performances out of 6. I think he's had 11 starts in the Premier League this season. It's poor.
I mean,
Yeah, that's not.
His starts was reduced because when he got injured at Wolves, and then we went on that terrific run, so we weren't changing the team.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't start many games, as he would have normally if he hadn't been injured. After the Wolves games, he would have played more games.
Yeah. Sefton says, brilliant show, lads. Please subscribe. Thank you very much indeed, Sefton. Alan says, great chat. Keep up the good work, Tony. Thank you very much, Alan. Thank you, mate. Off read a saying from the ex-sexy mag, says Sefton. Yeah, I've said it there, mate. Well, Burnley's hunt to win the championship tonight. They were winning 1-0. They've now been pegged back on the stroke of half time by Rotherham, so it's 1-1 there. While Sheffield United are still drawn 0-0 with Bristol City.
Chelsea beating Real Madrid, yeah, 3-0.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the Stadium of Plate, the Mackhams are winning 1-0, courtesy of a goal from on loan Leeds striker Joe Gelhardt against Huddersfield. So that's what's happening there at the moment. But no, in that game, it's Stamford Bridge. It is still goalless, and Real Madrid have had 52% possession. Stats are Chelsea's had 4 shots, 1 on target, 1 off target. Madrid's had 3 shots, 2 on target, 1 off target. So Courtois had to make 2 saves and Kepa's made 1. Sefton says, I need to set up a PayPal account. I'll donate to this fantastic channel. Thank you very much, Sefton. Thank you indeed. But guys, it's been a great night again. Another great show. Not sure what I've got tomorrow night, but on Thursday I've got a young Tottenham fan, Harry Scarf, joining me, and we're going to talk about this game on Sunday, get Harry's views on what he thinks of this season, and how his team's done so far, and see where he thinks Tottenham's strengths and weaknesses are. Probably more weaknesses than strengths at the moment in their team. But, you know, there's certainly more holes in there than there is in the sieve in their defence. So, yeah. But we shall see. And that should be a great show on Thursday evening. And going forward, when it comes to the Arsenal game, I've already got a guest lined up to come on and do the preview for Arsenal as well. So, you know, it's great. I'm getting these away fans on. So hopefully I'll get a few more on as well before the season ends. But guys and girls, thank you very much for watching tonight, and it's been another great show. So it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And remember, the future's bright, the future's black and white. Away the lads.